Hi, welcome to another episode of Real Conversations. I'm your host, Nicole Jones,
And I'm Quana Terry.
and we would like to thank you for joining us here tonight. So, Juana, hey girl, you're looking beautiful over there right now.
Thank
How
you
you
so
doing?
much. I'm doing well. How are you, Nicole?
I'm very well. I'm good. Uh Today was a little crazy, with the weather and everything, but other than that, standing strong.
It's raining. It's raining here, of course, in Pennsylvania. But I was out this weekend and I saw a rainbow.
Oh,
It went like it looked just like from edge to edge. I was like, "Where's the pot of gold?" It was so amazing, and I recorded it, and I'm like, "Oh my gosh, there's a ribbon in the sky." It was just
Aw.
so beautiful, and I hadn't seen a rainbow in so long. So it was almost like usually rainbows are
Good luck.
indicative of right, good luck or just promises of God. So it's like, wow, this is great. So me
Hmm.
seeing that, I was like, this is wonderful. I was happy to see it, and you had to see everyone on the highway with their phones out, looking like okay, we all gonna crash, but it was nice. It was nice to see. So, but
I remember when I seen a double rainbow. That was the most amazing
I've never
experience.
seen that before.
I was at work and it was so crazy because everyone took a picture of this same rainbow. I mean, we're all in different areas and everyone took a picture of this rainbow and it's the double rainbow. And then the weirdest thing, you seen it when it started evaporating, but it wasn't like it just faded away. It was like from the rainbow going like this. Literally. I was like, that is
Whoa,
awesome.
that's dope.
I
I
was
I
like,
wish to see
wow.
that. I would like to see that happen. That's dope. Wow.
Listen, I'm a rainbow person. I'm a rainbow lover. I love
Mhm.
them
Yeah,
just as much as I love butterflies.
yeah, yeah,
So that was awesome that you seen one this weekend.
yeah. I have to send it to you. I mean, it was just awesome. I was like, oh my god. I was so happy to see it. But so that was that. Because the weekend was kind of a wash. For Memorial Day weekend. So
Mhm.
there were only a few good days. And it either rained in the morning and then it was good at night. But by the time the nightfall came, right, it started to get cold, so we really didn't get to
Oh
enjoy
wow.
it. But I did go to a fair. I did a lot of stuff this weekend, so I was happy to have been outside, um, getting some sunlight, getting some vitamin D.
Gotta get that vitamin D.
You already know, but that vitamin D, like the real vitamin D, you know.
um, this weekend I actually drove up north. My daughter drove up north. This is her first
Mm.
time driving for that long distance, and
Mhm.
I was really impressed. I was really impressed by what I seen going up and coming back down,
Yeah.
and coming back down. I drove to North Carolina, and then she drove from North Carolina and back home. So that was awesome. She did an amazing job. I'm very
I
proud of her.
love that for her. I love when the kids, get their licenses and they're able to show us their skills. They're like, okay, all right, I can trust you. I
Hmm.
can only trust you with me though. Like you gotta wait.
That's
You
it.
smash up your own joint. You ain't gonna do mine.
That part.
We're not gonna speak that over them. It's gonna be just fine. They're going to, my kid is just driving as well. So it's like, oh gosh, but it's a part of growing up, almost like a rite of passage, right? When they get their driver license.
Yes.
So,
It's so crazy because my youngest son, was telling her, I know you got your license, but you got a license to sit in the seat right here. This license right here is harder than that license that you received, a few months ago. I was
mhm.
I mean, he's right. And that
Yeah.
license that he's talking about, guys, is sitting in mommy's seat in the driver's
Mhm.
seat.
Mhm. You're right about that. So that's amazing, though. Kudos to her, and I'm glad that she's getting all the practice that she needs because it's necessary. So,
Absolutely.
All right then. So we're gonna move on. There has been so much talk happening around the Trump administration and real conversation. We have been talking about it almost every episode, right? Now, there was new development that came out where it was really talking about Trump and his global tariffs. And what I do see is that, like, a federal court has blocked his global tariff, saying that he does not have the authority to place tariffs on certain countries. And I was like, what? This is huge. Even though once the court ruled, the Trump administration went right to an appeal. They were not playing. They did appeal it on grounds that he should be able to do so. And if I can, so we could talk about that a little bit more, because that one is a win, but hopefully it's not short lived, and they don't they don't double back on the decision, you know. So what do you think, Nicole?
I mean, absolutely. I think that the whole tariff situation is just causing, you know, ruckus for all of us when it comes to spending our money, the products that we purchase. It's a bit much. Like, for instance, Shein. Everyone loves Shein, right? They're literally trumping up their charges. They created a whole membership at Shein. You have to pay like $7.99. I was just told this. $7.99 in order to receive the percentage off. So your order won't be hit with that ridiculous amount because of the shipment charges that they, you know, because of the tariffs.
Yeah, I guess they had to pass it down some way. Now, like, the Congress, you know, Congress, they do have exclusive powers, right? They can regulate commerce with other nations. But the problem with that is that Trump was saying, like, it's a matter of national emergency. So he was just going to trump Congress and be like, okay, let me just take this. So he's like, listen, I want to safeguard the economy. I want to make sure that you know, America returns to its greatness, right? And so I'm going to just trump Congress. I'm going to go over their head, and because it's a matter of national emergency. And it's like, okay, sir, this is really a ploy to try to strong arm, you know, other countries into agreeing to your, I would say, it's not democracy. It's almost, for me, like a dictatorship. You're trying to, like, bully them into doing what you want them to do. But it's crazy. So again, they lodged an appeal as soon as the ruling was put out there. So we'll see what happens.
It's crazy because you did say a dictatorship. Didn't previously, on a few episodes ago, didn't we say that he is emulating Hitler in a sense?
Yeah, it's crazy. And I mean, and his the reasoning that he is giving is it's a matter of a national emergency, right? We need to get this. We need to save America. We need to make America great again. And his reasoning of, I'm putting America first right now. This is me putting America first. Yes, but how are you putting America first when America's going to be saving more money? I mean, spending more money to purchase goods. To be honest, America doesn't make anything. We don't make a lot of stuff. So most of our stuff comes from these other countries. So now, if you're going to place tariffs on these other countries, now we're going to have to pay more. That trickles down to the consumer, i.e. Shein, I don't even know how to say it. I.e. them saying, okay, here's this membership for $7.99. Now they're passing all that down to the consumer. while I do not blame them because they didn't ask for the tariff and it's
Mm-hmm.
coming from it's coming from America, they're going to impose a tax on the American people. But it's like, how is that putting America first if you are essentially gouging? Your ruling is going to gouge the pockets of the American people. Crazy.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
So I guess we'll see what happens with that one. More to come, as I say, more to come.
Ooh, so breaking news, breaking news. We got something hot off the press right now for you
Ooh, we
guys.
like it.
So apparently Elon Musk, there was an announcement saying that he is leaving the Trump administration.
Ooh.
As a, it's, I think he was under a contract there for 130 days, uh, where his role ends. But
Uh-huh.
what's your thoughts on that?
I mean, him leaving literally marks the end of a, a turbulent chapter, right? A lot of stuff going on with Elon Musk.
I know.
And he was planning to do so many things, and there was thousands of layoffs, right, during his time. A lot of it was um, getting pushback from. I think he was getting pushback from some of the people in the Trump administration as well.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he did all that he hoped that he wanted to do, mainly because some of it just was not feasible. It didn't make a lot of sense when you're dealing with a whole country. While it makes sense if you're dealing with a corporation,
Right.
you're only affecting the people in that corporation. But when you're affecting billions of people, there's so much more that goes into that. So many moving parts. And I don't think that, he understood that. And he expressed a lot of frustration in regards to the resistance that he had encountered to his goals. And I think that it's because people were kind of probably thinking like me, and I'm on the outside looking in. Like, this is not a corporation. This is not something that is just centered to that. We're talking a bunch of moving parts affecting many different lives and these are rulings. These are there were laws and stuff that were put in place that if you were to remove them or change certain things, it would just be a nightmare for the American people. So I don't know. He doesn't care. He's a billionaire, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he has the means to be able to deal with fluctuation. Many
Right.
people don't. You know.
Totally agree with that right there.
You
I
know.
mean, I think, it's time for him to go anyway. So, bye bye, Elon.
Yeah, I mean, listen, but his role was over. Like you said, it was only for a couple of days, or I don't know how many days you said, but it was definitely intended to be temporary. So
130 days to
I
be
guess
exact.
it is okay. So I think that shifting his focus back to running his businesses, because guess what, Tesla wasn't doing too good when he was in the White House, right? People were like, "I'm not buying another Tesla. I'm not
Mm-hmm.
doing this." So he's like, "Wait a minute, my coins are getting low on this side." All right, you know what? I tried. I did what I could do. I put my best foot forward, ruffled a few feathers. Now I'm out of here. So and you know what? Speaking of the stuff that he was trying to do with the legislation to cut funding and layoffs and things of that nature. You recently told me about an article, Nicole, about what's needed or what the income that's needed to be middle class in this country.
Yes.
I'm baffled by it because they're trying to cut spending and cut certain funding, and it's like, in order to be middle class, like you have to in certain states be making six figures, you know. So when you're cutting certain programs and things of that nature that people use to supplement their income to ensure that they can afford things, you know, it's not beneficial to the American people. It's like, how are we making America great? Please tell me this. Please tell me how.
So I'm just going to mention a few states that I think is just a little ridiculous. Like for instance, we have Georgia. It says 86,000. If I remember, Ti some years ago complaining about people who are coming from other states living in the state, and they can afford their rent because it's like a price gouging that went on in the
Mm.
state of Georgia. But the
Mm.
people who are originally from the state of Georgia cannot afford it. But here it's saying that you have to make 86,000 just to be if you're single, 86,000.
I see it.
Now, I've seen a lot of homes in the state of Georgia. And I was asking myself, like, how is this legal for them to live in this house? It doesn't make any sense. So if you're saying that 86,000 is the amount for these people to be able to make it, and they're not making it because the minimum wage is not even, what it will be up in New York. Minimum wage is significantly low in the state of Georgia.
But you were asking how is it legal to live in the house? What do you mean? Was the house decrepit? Like, was it, should it be condemned? Like,
Yes, listen, it was definitely, it shouldn't be livable. That's how it was. It just by looking at it made me feel away. And I feel that someone shouldn't have to live like that. Like, it didn't even look like they had a roof. Like, the roof looked like they put metal on top of the roof just so when it rains, it won't seep in.
Yeah.
How is that considered to be, legal for that to happen? It shouldn't be like that at all. I'm gonna say in New York is saying you have to make 178,000 if you're single. Now, I'm not saying people don't make that money. I'm just saying everybody in that state is not making 178,000.
Listen, and this is why it's cheaper to keep her. People trying to shack up, because.
But what's so crazy?
It's
not even just about shacking up. In the state of New York, you got people who it's like families living in rooms, literally, just to make it by. It's not right. People shouldn't have to live like that. You should be able to go have your house and live comfortably and be able to pay your bills, put food on your table, and all the other stuff. Like, it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, I feel like if you're going to be in New York and you and your family are going to live or share a property, I think that there should be some ownership to that property. You shouldn't be living in somebody else's home, paying their mortgage while not generating any wealth for yourself. You know what I'm saying? Or for your family. So doing that is crazy. But if you're living in a house that your family owns and everyone is staying there and they're contributing, and then, once you save up, then you go off on your own. I'm cool with that, But just be doing it, that's insane. But I get what you're talking about when you say that it should not be like the norm to have to go and live in a state like New York and then be subjected to having to stay with family or to get 4 other people in your apartment just to make the rent. That's a lot.
It is.
I get that.
It's basically saying being a homeowner in America is no longer a realistic goal for many people. That's crazy.
It's really insane. It really is, and I'm really hoping that um, things change for the better soon. It definitely is a lot when it comes to home ownership, but I'd rather do home ownership because if you think about it, you paying rent. Sometimes your rent is way more than what a mortgage would be.
Hmm.
Now there may be a problem with the down payment and things of that nature, but there are programs that allow you to, you know, see, they give you everything that you need and tell you what you need, and then you work toward home ownership that way. And then some of them even help you look for homes. So
Hmm.
I feel like, if that's the goal, if that's the end goal, going into some of those programs, first time home buyer programs and things of that nature, if you qualify, would be the best thing to do, so that you own your home and you won't have to really worry too much about, someone coming in and taking a claim to it, unless you're not paying your taxes. You're not paying taxes. You
I
know?
mean, I heard about I was going to say the programs as well, but I've heard someone who actually went through the process for the the first time home buyer. And it's crazy just to try to qualify. And I mean, someone who should be able to qualify, they're giving that person a hard time to qualify. And
Mm,
I think that I don't think that it should be that hard to qualify for something if everything that it says you need and you have it, and I mean credit, every little detail,
yeah,
then that person should qualify.
I agree with that. I mean, I don't know too much about the first time home buyers program because I did not go through that when I bought my home. But at the end of the day, I know they are very they're sticklers about what is needed and who qualifies for it.
Hmm.
But I mean, there's other programs out there. I know you have to get past all of the red tape, but from what I understand, those people who actually survive it, I say survive. Those people who actually survive the process, they speak of good things after the fact. They speak good things
Okay.
about the program. So, you know, I guess it just depends on how much time you have. Like I've known people who actually have gone through the program and because they've started to look 2 years before they were really ready to buy a home. I don't think it really works if you are trying to buy a home in 6 months, or
Hmm.
maybe even 3 months. I don't think it works for that because they're going to require you to do certain things that
Right.
you may not be, you know, may not want to do because you may not have the time to do it. So, but hopefully economy gets better. The middle class rate for California was what?
Ooh, California.
I know that has to be crazy.
California was 215,000.
Yeah. And you
I've
see,
heard about California being expensive, more expensive than New York, but when I seen this, I was like,
yeah, that's insane. Mm, that's insane. And California now has all of these people that are like they have even like places where all the homeless people. It's almost like Skid Row type thing. Like,
yes.
ooh, child, they have so many places where people are now living out of their cars, and it's a norm. Unfortunately, that really, really, really is sad.
It's
And there's not enough room for
Absolutely.
them to even build shelters or anything like that. There's not enough space. Everything is crowded.
They're not even building shelters. They're putting them in hotels. So now there's not even enough hotels for when you come in and visit that the hotel that you stayed at last year is now a shelter.
But you know what? I stayed at a hotel. It was beautiful. But then I saw these people downstairs in bonnets. I was like, hey, hell going on in here? No, these can't be real hotel guests because ain't no way.
Yeah, I was like,
Man,
that's
I
crazy
couldn't
though.
believe it. I was like, and then I saw like certain things, kids run up and down the hall. I was like, oh. I see what
Yeah.
this is. And I put that on my list to never stay there again because listen, you know how much I'm paying for hotels now? Like you have to let people know that that's
Yes.
what's going on there because uh, not saying that it's something wrong with that, but you just have to let people know. Anyway, I don't even want to
I
talk about
mean, you're sitting up here saying the state pays more than what they consider the customers to pay.
it. Right.
That's what they're saying, right? But at the same time, I understand that these are like emergency placements for these individuals. But when a person is paying, like you just said, when you're paying, good money to stay at a place, you don't expect to see someone, who has been misplaced, within a home situation and put in a situation where you are. Like, that's crazy.
Exactly.
Especially when the class of the hotel is, that uppity, what's the right word I'm trying to use?
I mean,
The
it
upper class.
was actually because we were in Orlando and I stayed at one of the Hiltons. And I'm like, okay, well, I could understand because it's Florida, right?
Mhm.
And they're going to have many storms. They had just came off of a hurricane and all of that, so they must have done that. Asked them for assistance, or they opened up their doors to them. But I'm like, okay, let somebody know that though, because you never know who's there. You never know what kind of people are going into these things. And
That's true.
but I've smelled the shelter before, and I knew it as soon as I walked in. I was like, "What's happening here?"
Yeah.
I couldn't, change my reservation, but it is what it is. But they just need to let people know. But that's the gravity of the situation when it comes to the income and it comes to the living situation out here in the good old United States of America. Make us great again. Anyway, so I can't wait till we get to the next topic. We're going to talk about relationships. And Nicole, can you tell us what the next topic is, girl?
I got a request to speak about, is sexual chemistry important when dating?
Ooh.
So I do think that it's very important when dating, but I was very intrigued by this question because it was given by a gentleman.
Oh, really? Ooh, we like when the
Yes,
men. We like when
we
the
love it
men.
when the men, step in and ask these questions. It's not just women. We love it.
Yeah,
We
we like
appreciate you guys for
that.
sure.
And
Um,
thank y'all so much for recommending topics for us because that gives us something to talk about. And that lets us know that you're interested, and we want to make sure that you're engaged as well. So thank you.
appreciate that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
All right, so so I wrote my notes again, guys.
Come on now,
so
come with it.
I said sexual chemistry can absolutely be an important topic when it comes to dating. It is one of the most asked about and misunderstood aspects of romantic relationships. So basically, what is sexual chemistry really? Can you break that down? Do you know what it is? I'll tell you.
Yes, please tell us.
So, it is just physical attraction, or it is more than that. Like emotional tension, shared energy, and body language sync. Um, Now, a lot of people would like to know, like, can this grow over time? Uh, Many people think chemistry is either instant or it's not real. Is that true? Do you think that's true?
I mean, with chemistry, either you have it or you don't. That's how I feel. Um, we talked a little bit about this when we were talking about arranged marriages versus, falling in love regularly.
Hmm.
Just the initial meeting to be attracted to someone and and I think that's part of sexual chemistry, like being attracted to someone, knowing like, okay, yes, it's him, it's her. I think it's important. Can it be developed over time? Maybe. I don't know. What do you think, Nicole?
Um, I do think that it can be developed over time, but that's if you have that time to wait.
Shit. I mean,
That's not the case for everybody. Everyone is not willing to wait for something to turn into whatever it is supposed to turn into. So I think that you should know where you stand with that, and don't waste your time. Move on, because that so that way the right person can come in your life, and you'll know, because everything's going to fall into place. It's like to me, it's like a puzzle piece. It fits well together, and you don't have to like force anything, you know or wait, like 10, 20, 40 years just so you can have whatever it is that you think you're going to have with that person. Because what if you don't? What if it was a waste of time? Like, think about it.
you waiting when?
Huh?
No, 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 no. How long did you say? Ain't no way.
Oh, I said 10, 20, 30, 40.
No. You get a good 6 months to a year. Okay?
I mean, that's the norm, right?
Yeah.
But you got people who literally wait, like, because they think that this is their person, this is who they want, yada yada yada. And it's you got to be realistic, okay? Because to be honest with you, it like stuff like that, you see it in your face. You can tell if a person is your person. You know what I mean? Like, the signs are there. Don't ignore the signs. Those Pay attention to the signs, and if it's not for you, go the opposite way. But we got a little off topic, so.
I mean, sexual chemistry is really important when dating, and because it is one of the things that helps lead you into a long-term relationship. Because sex is important. The ability to be intimate with your partner, but truly understand each other's bodies, truly understand each other's, truly understand the way to satisfy your partner is important. That will fade, yes. I don't want to hear anybody say, "Oh, that's going to fade." Yes, it will fade. But that's why you build other aspects of the relationship, other parts of the relationship, so that it can be a well-rounded and healthy relationship. But I need to be attracted to you in that way. I'm like, well, if it seems like a chore for me, that's not good. If it seems like it's a chore, like, okay, oh gosh, I gotta do this. I have to do this again. Oh boy. And then especially if your partner, your mate is more attracted to you than you are to them, it's going to be a chore, and it's not going to last long. That leaves the door open for other things to creep in. And I'm just not with it. So to answer the question, is sexual chemistry important when dating? It absolutely is.
But I say that is true. It is very important, right? But you shouldn't so what I said to the gentleman when he asked me, you shouldn't base a relationship on sex. Is it a value part of it? Of course it is. But like you said, it fades. There's gonna be a time where you guys are not, intimate in that way.
I'm not even gonna be able to see the tool. I'm not even gonna know what to do. Baby, is that? Is that the banana? Like, what the? There's going to be a time. So we're gonna have to have other things. Like I said, it needs to be a well-rounded relationship where we can talk about things. Where intimacy, of course, is not always intercourse. Intimacy is just holding one another and being able to talk to one another in that way. And it's like, so we know it's not everything, but it is important. It's not everything, but it is important. And for someone to say otherwise, no. Because you could talk to your partner, you could do all of that stuff, right? Yes. But if the sex ain't hitting, Nicole, you know, it's like, oh, but you know what? He give me money, but no, you're that is leaving the door open for somebody else to kind of creep up in there and give you the other part of that. Like real
Well,
talk.
it's the satisfaction. So this is what I say. If you have a partner that is lacking in that area, right? Then he has to compensate somewhere else. So if he can't do it with the tool, then he got another tool. There's something in his mouth that can, you know, help his situation out. I'm just saying.
Absolutely, but when I
But
right, go ahead.
everyone, because look, you know, people fall in love with people for many different reasons, right? We're not gonna put money out there. We talk about real love. We're not talking about that fake shit.
Okay.
So, people fall in love with people for many different reasons,
Mhm.
and maybe his presence just is like the most amazing thing in your life, and he just lacks in that one area. There are a lot of people that will still stick by him because of the other attributes that he has. But there are other women or men, because I heard a man that said if a woman can, if she can't, enjoy his banana. I'm trying to be PG. Enjoy his banana and be able to like go like take it all or spit on it, whatever it is that they sit up there and do. Like it's not for him. But for me that's not being realistic.
I
That's
mean,
your preference though.
that's his preference.
That's your preference, but you're not being realistic. So that means, and to this day, homeboy is by himself. I wonder why.
I mean, if he want to take on, if he waiting for deep throat Brenda, let him wait for him. That's his preference.
It is.
Understanding though, sometimes when if that's the only thing that you're looking for, understanding the type of person that you're going to get,
Mhm.
if that's the only thing you're looking for, if you're not looking for anything else, because I believe that those types of things can be taught. Like they have sprays and stuff. You don't want, they got a bunch of stuff that you can utilize to be able to do in the way that your partner wants. It just, like you said, it's a matter of whether or not you want to take that time to
Right.
to learn.
Now,
So
I was going to say that earlier in regards to when it comes to, if it comes to like, you having an issue because your person is not hitting it the way it is, you like it. You can always teach that person that, male or female.
yeah,
Okay. Everything is teachable. Okay. So, that's why I say, the chemistry is very big on, I'm very big on the chemistry.
mhm,
But I do think that it should go way past that, because you got to get to know your partner,
yes,
because when that time comes when you guys can't be sexually active, you gotta want to be able to stand each other in the same room. Like y'all gotta like each other, you
yeah,
know.
yeah. That's where it comes in with friendships and having those conversations,
Mhm.
um, because that creates an emotional attachment to your partner. So
Yeah.
then it's like, there's more to this. There's more to this person than just that. It creates. They provide something else. They provide that they support me emotionally, and I'm sorry. In a lot of things, if you, especially for me, like if you support me emotionally, that's big because
That's
that means
huge.
you've taken the time to get to know me, understand my flaws, understand my likes and dislikes, and then cater to me in that way. That's huge,
Oh
right?
man,
That's
girl,
huge.
when you're able to speak to your partner and somewhere down the line, you guys are talk about something else, and your partner brings up what it is that you said. Yeah.
And we're not talking about in
Okay.
a judgy way or anything like that. We're just like, I remember you told me that this is what
Ooh.
happened. And listen, I'm here for you. I know, do you think that this is touching on that or whatever it may be? And it's like, oh, thank you for considering me. Thank you for listening.
Yes.
Yeah, like,
It means everything.
yeah,
It's, and for those of you in the back of the room who don't understand what we're saying, so it's the same. It's the same as you go into the store and your man or your woman noticing that you like something in the store, and they go and they buy it for you, and they come home and you were like, oh my gosh, how did you know? Oh, because I seen that you was, looking at it, and you was admiring it, so I thought you should have it.
Exactly. And for me, it's something as small as my favorite food. Like, I will go hard on some Goya plantain chips, right?
Ooh.
Like original, not the garlic and all of that other stuff they do. No, we're not doing that. But I'll go hard on some Goya plantain chips. So it's like, if I come home and you like, here, what I got, oh, thank you, son. Like, yes, like you said, little things like that. But that also creates an emotional connection
Thank you.
with your
Yes.
partner. But the other side of that is, please don't manipulate with that either. Like, be true, be real, be authentic. When
It's all
you're
about the transparency.
Yeah, exactly. Be authentic, be real, be true to your partner, especially if you're really getting to know them and
Mhm.
wanting to, if you see this person in your future. Because there are certain people that you like, okay, I do not see past 6 months. Right? Some people I'm like, oh shoot, that never even happened. They erased from my
Yeah, it
memory.
don't even go past the 6 months. Sometimes it's listen,
Yeah.
after this weekend I'm done. I'm out. I can't do this.
It happens like that. Cause you think about it, you're like, you know what? Okay, it's not there for me in one area, and then you have to weigh your pros and cons because if it's there in one area and not in the other, how far can you get with that person in the long run, right? Is that something? Is that a deal breaker? So many things you would have to come into play, and not everybody is basing their relationship on sex or anything else. They're basing it on other things. Sometimes, marriages are like business deals.
Mhm. It is a business deal.
A
Absolutely.
business deal. So it's like,
Yes.
some people aren't basing it on just sex. That's
Yeah.
it. But to
You gotta
me,
make sure you guys are compatible in every way.
absolutely. And if not, be willing to learn, be willing to be taught. But for me, hands down, sexual chemistry is important. Okay, important. I'm standing 10 toes, 10 fingers, since you can't see my feet, down on that. It's important.
I mean, look, it is very important that you and your partner is compatible in every way. So yes, absolutely. You know, it can't help. I mean, it can't help.
Yeah. Helps a lot. All right. So we thank you, for joining Real Conversation. Thank you to the gentleman that suggested the topic. We really appreciate you. And if you have any more, please keep them coming. We'll love to have a conversation about it. Thank you all for tuning in. Um, of course, we premiere live on YouTube on Thursday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The YouTube channel is real_combos_podcast. That's where you can find us live on YouTube. You can also look at other videos that are there that we have done. We are now in episode 12, which is exciting. So we're excited to keep this going and like I said, if you have anything that you want to talk to us about, you can reach out to Nicole or I, or even just email us at realconvospodcast@gmail.com. But Nicole's going to tell you where else you can find us.
All right, guys. So on Facebook, we are Real Conversations. We're also Real Conversations 2021. Um, and on Instagram, what are we? Real_combos_podcast. So we thank you guys for joining us, and don't forget, subscribe. Hit that like button on every platform, and we appreciate you guys and see you next week.
Yes, we'll see you next week. God bless. Bye.